Well, hello everyone. I'm 𝗙𝗿𝗁𝗁𝗁, technical coordinator of SEG Evolve, and welcome to this week's gathering of the Fearless Explorers of the Future. We're very pleased to have today with us Mr. Francisco Ortigosa, who's going to give us a talk on the digital transformation, and we're very much looking forward to that. I'd like to first of all just start by welcoming all of the SEG Evolve students that are present with us in the Zoom room, as well as some of the SEG Evolve mentors, notably Mr. 𝗙𝗿𝗁𝗁𝗁 I can see on the screen. So welcome to those of us conducting the routine operations, so to speak. Before we begin, I'll just say a few quick introductory comments about SEG Evolve. We always hope we reach a new audience every week. And so just thought I'd say a few words for those of you who aren't familiar yet with SEG Evolve. And so what the Evolve program is, it's a 6-month part-time virtual internship for students. It's fully collaborative, global, and inclusive. So I meet with the teams every Friday. We all collaborate, we learn from each other. And the idea here is to teach the skills that are necessary to be successful in multidisciplinary, real-world, digital E&P settings. And in general, this is something that is not easily taught at universities. There's a lot of other material that has to be taught, so this is very hard to come by. And one key thing about SEG Evolve is that the students get a chance to work extensively with very senior experienced mentors like Mr. 𝗙𝗿𝗁𝗁𝗁, Mr. Ortigosa, Ms. Jenny Thompson, and others. So tremendous opportunity for those who can do it. We do emphasize in SEG Evolve a few basic things. The first thing is the importance of making good maps. Maps are critical, and this happens to be a map from one of our students. I know he's there because I see him. We emphasize the importance of critical thinking, as well as the use of technologies, but critical thinking is really key. And we kind of like to have some fun with drawing things. We believe that if you understand something, you should be able to draw it. And as we say, if we can't draw it, you don't understand it. So these are a few mentor cartoons, and with time, we teach the students how to learn to draw for themselves. These are the companies that have supported SEG Evolve here over the years, starting with our initial founding sponsor, 𝗙𝗿𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁. And these are the other companies that contribute software and other contributions. To date, we're over 55 teams and over 300 students from 40 countries around the world. And this is just actually in the last 3 years. We always hope to expand and fill some of those gray areas and make them green starting next year. Just for information, we also have Evolve Professional, which is essentially the same program as SEG Evolve, but that's for those who are actually employed in companies, and we adapt this Evolve program for your own work schedules and other details in terms of how you want to execute it. So anyway, we have a lot of information sources, so we encourage you, of course, to attend or go to our YouTube channel, LinkedIn, and other places. So, I'm very pleased to have Mr. Ortigosa here today. As you know, this is the talk that he'll be giving us. He's got over 30 years of experience with Repsol, has worked in divisions all over the world. Most recently, he has been based in Houston and also in Madrid, shuttling back and forth. And I wanted to do a quick aside here because, let me go to another slide pack. So I was very happy to have an invitation from Mr. Ortigosa back in 2019 in February, and I was lucky to get a tour of the wonderful Repsol campus in Madrid. And we actually held the kickoff meeting for Evolve 2019 from Madrid, by the way. So just a few things. This is the, Mr. Ortigosa, feel free to expand on anything I say, but this is the downtown campus where the exploration and other units are located, another view of the beautiful downtown campus. But they also have a very leading edge technology lab that's in another part of Madrid. So we went out there and took a look at that. Well, they do sponsor some motorbike teams, I guess. And this is just looking around in some of the research facilities. This, if I recall, this is their rock crushing lab, I believe, where they take rock samples and crush them. And another view. This is where they've been developing some of the latest technology, AI, and digital methods. And this is what we're looking forward to hearing about today. So this is where they break the new ground. Nice view from the outside. And they also have an excellent training program, by the way, and training facility. And I believe it was what, about 1 year, Mr. Ortigosa, 1 year training, I think, for.
Yes.
Yeah. So 1 year training. This is one of the facilities here. And so for those of you lucky enough to go into 𝗙𝗿𝗁 and be part of this, it's an excellent program. And 𝗙𝗿𝗁, by the way, will hopefully stand you in very good stead. So that's my introduction. Again, it's a very great pleasure to have Mr. Ortigosa here. And so I turn it to you now.
Okay, thank you very much, Alan. I have had 30 very fruitful years in 𝗙𝗿𝗁, and it's something that I always be very, very proud of having worked for 𝗙𝗿𝗁. So today, I'm going to talk about, I mean, the reason for this question, the reason for this presentation is that many times where I am being giving conferences and talking to people and so on, everybody is telling me, hey, Francisco, what should I do? Should I study a master? Should I change my career? Everybody now is, there are times where everybody is anxious about what is going to happen with my profession now that everything is changing exponentially in the digital transformation era. That's why I just put together this kind of presentation. So something I have to tell you is that there is something new. Digital transformation always has been a need, and everybody is, but sometimes companies or people think, well, this digital transformation is something from the future. There is no urgency, there is not emergency in adopting this transformation. But look at this. This is, in this cartoon, is very clear that the COVID is accelerating the need for the transformation, the digital transformation of companies and people. I was reading an article early this month saying that has been accelerated this urgency 6 times. 6 times. Okay, I have to make a little disclaimer. The disclaimer is that I am a digital immigrant. So I'm born analog, and then I evolved into digital. And what does it mean to be digital immigrant? When I was a student at the university, the only digital technology was that. If you don't remember, if you don't remember what is this, you are in the good position, because this is when we have to take the cassette tape with the pen and then rewind and roll in the tape. Okay, so this kind of technologies, these technologies that were where I was a student, maybe like you are today, all of this is completely fossil. So, and this is something very important. This is something very important because we need to think that things are not to stay. If somebody thought that is attending the university because is to learn a profession, is wrong. It never has been true, but particularly today, is wrong to assume that you are learning a profession that will take the rest of your life. You will be working with this person. This is impossible. This is not going to happen. Well, I don't know if you remember this gentleman, Douglas Adams. Douglas Adams is the writer of a book called The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And it's a very interesting book, which, I mean, the book is called Don't Panic, Bring a Towel. And in this book, he says something very interesting. He says, anything that is in the world when you are born is normal and ordinary, and is just a natural part of the way the world works. If you just get born when there are cassette tapes, this is the normal thing. Okay, this is what happened with the tapes. And then it says, anything that's invented between when you are 15 and you are 35 is new and exciting and revolutionary, and you can probably get a career. Okay? Now it says, anything invented after you are 35 is against the natural order of things. It's very important to think of these 3 points because, of course, depending on in which segment you are today, you will have a different perception of the presentation that I'm making today. And again, this is not real, it's perception. So it's not that anything is normal and then suddenly everything is against this is just perception. And we need to be ready to change this perception and to manage the change, just avoiding to have this kind of view. So, okay, hey, meet the specialists of the 15th century. These kind of specialists were the only protagonists of knowledge at that time, spending all their time writing and rewriting all of these brainy and 𝗙𝗍𝗀𝗀𝗆 knowledge. Okay, just writing the book. And these people, okay, the real digital transformation that happened to these guys is that suddenly there is one guy called Gutenberg that invented the printing press. With the invention of the printing press, all of these specialists were horrified with the only idea that their knowledge would be spread and democratized among humanity. So they said, how is possible that you are going to print books? You will lose all the depth of the knowledge, of the philosophy, everything. Certainly, the people will lose the depth of the knowledge, but will be gaining in analysis because the people were ready to read hundreds of books. This is what is happening today. Today, we are facing the same parallel situation with the cloud, with the internet, with everything. Is the big printing press of 20th and 21st century. So thanks to the digital transformation, the humanity is facing a similar situation that of the 15th century with the invention of the printing press. Today, we have universal access to technology and knowledge through the internet and the cloud. It's very important. We are very lucky because there was the printer, the printing press, which is very good, and then we have the digital. Well, this is regarding what they say regarding the knowledge, the content, and now you have universal access to knowledge. I mean, completely instantaneous. This is how a career looked like not many long ago. Definitely, where I was when I have seen this, and there are countries where maybe this kind of career model still exists. So you just you are a kid. I mean, you go to the school. If you after school you are lucky enough, then you join the high school. You explore your possibilities of your lives. If you are more lucky, then you go to university, you pick up a career, you are learning something that will be your profession for the rest of your life. And then suddenly, when you have 44, basically you are done in the career. And then you grab to the chair in the company just to be able to be 20 years just waiting to be retired at 65. This kind of careers definitely was the career of my father. There was the career initially where I started developing and studying, and probably we know this kind of career. But this is something very important, that this kind of career, of linear professional career with only one route, is gone. It's completely gone. It's something thought that there was going to be university just to learn a profession for the rest of their life, is wrong. Because today there are alternatives. Because of the digital transformation, because of the new order of the world, everything is changing completely. So there is an exponential change of things that they are giving many opportunities, but the important thing for us to get these opportunities is to be able to manage the change management. So now the employees where we are working, they will be giving us opportunities, and then we will be taking the opportunities as well that we will generate, just to be able completely and different professional careers and professional paths. I was thinking, I was a little bit amazed about well, because something that we need to manage is change. Because of the change in exponential, we live in an environment which is called VUCA. So if you don't know this term, we are living in times where very high degrees of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity. This is what is surrounding us, and we need to manage completely, and we need to be the commanders of our life just to sail through all of this environment. One of the things, of the consequences of this period is all the careers that are emerging, different careers. I said, okay, I would like to know which were the most promising careers in 2005. Okay. And then I did this research in internet through a lot of resources, LinkedIn, Master Studies, Fast Company, and so on. And this is what I found. Everybody was saying that the most promising careers for 2010, at 2005, were personal family advisor, medical scientist, computer software engineer, geoscientist, market research analyst. To me, he said, oh my God, these careers in 2005, they are the same career 1985. So basically, in 20, 30 years, the most promising careers were never changing because the rate of change was very low. What happened in 2007? 2007, the iPhone was invented. And then all the digital, what is the consequence? Look at this. In 2010, all of the most promising careers until 2020 were app designer and developer, digital marketing specialist, social media manager, search engine optimization specialist, podcast producer. Just for 1 year to the next year, completely changing the most promising careers. But here is not that there are new careers emerging. No, what happened is that there are careers that will disappear. Today, there is a study saying that there are in particular 712 professions that will disappear in the next coming 5 years. Well, now, in 2020, which is today, I said, okay, so what are the most promising careers that will be now from today to 2030? Look at this. Blockchain developer, machine learning engineer, machine learning specialist, cloud service specialist, application sales executive. Yes, because basically everything changed, because in 2010 we have all the internet, iPhone, and so on. Now we have the cloud, we have artificial intelligence. Clearly, it's changing the opportunities for the careers. And now, say, okay, after 2030, what will be the careers? Oops, sorry. Organ creator, augmented reality journey builder, earthquake forecaster, human machine teaming manager, digital currency advisor. I personally like the earthquake forecaster. I want to be the one, the earthquake forecaster. So this is something very interesting because look at this. This is 25 years in our career. I mean, I have been in reps for 30 years, but in the next coming 30 years, which is what most of you are today, look at this kind of change that is going to happen in your life. So definitely, what your profession today is not going to be your profession in 25 years. So it's going to be most likely or something completely different, or just the same profession, but with completely new skills. And this is bringing us to the point of the artificial intelligence, because the artificial intelligence is going to change completely everything, and it's going to change, or is changing now completely what we have, what we are working on. So now the idea here is not that you need to study all of this. The important thing is that you need to be able to adapt to the change. So today there are some professionals that they are adapting to the change. That these are the nomads. Nomads are the professionals of the future. Nomads are people that are embracing now the challenges of the profession challenges in the digital transformation. The nomads is not limited to a certain age or industry. It's not a person of 15, 20 years. It could be a person with 80 years. Are people digitally literate? They understand how and why all the technology, data technology works. They are creative, innovative, collaborative, and motivated. They use information and generate knowledge in different contexts. They are highly inventive, intuitive, able to produce ideas. Not only does it seek to access information, it seeks just to use it openly and freely. They are competent to solve unknown problems in different contexts just to manage this VUCA environment. They learn to serve without any geographical restrictions. They are not bounded by a particular country. They are able to learn, to unlearn quickly, because this, you want to say, you need to unlearn everything you have learned just to adapt to the new changes. They are competent to create horizontal learning, formal and informal, and the most important thing for them is they are not afraid of failure, because failing is just another form of learning. These are the nomads of the knowledge and the innovation that is going to be the kind of workers that we need to be. Sorry, this is in Spanish for you people. This is all because like more than 10 years. The needs to innovate. These are the new professionals. These are the professionals of the future. Creative and innovators. They can work almost with every person, everywhere, not restricted to a particular place. They use the technology to learn and work. They change completely their working environment and they build value for them and the others. This is something very important because the nomads are highly networking, and for the nomads, failing is just another way of learning. So this is the question that I'm asking to all of you. Are you a nomad? Do you want to be a nomad? Because this is the person that will be connecting people, organizations, and projects just to develop. They can work today in one particular topic and tomorrow in something. Today they can be working in physics and tomorrow they can be working in chemistry. Just because this is the nature of the nomads, completely every time working, every time learning and adapt to the environment. So this is especially important because, as I said before, artificial intelligence is going to completely change the way that we work. Probably, I mean, if today we are geoscientists, we will be geoscientists, but it's going to be completely different the way we work because we will be incorporating all of this technology to our present profession, and we need to be ready to do it. So now I have, and this is the important thing that we need to think, how the artificial intelligence is going to change our environment, our working environment. So there is something absolutely important and very interesting, and these are some statistics that I have from Forbes about how is today the implementation of artificial intelligence. So we see that the number of papers that have been published every year is increasing almost exponentially. If we are looking at the amount of investment that is being done in artificial intelligence startups, is also completely exponential. if we see how many startups are developing artificial intelligence systems, you see that is growing as well exponentially. And this just the jobs that today they require artificial intelligence skills today are growing at this pace. So it's absolutely very clear that the artificial intelligence is something that we will have to incorporate in our skill just to be able. This is not something for an engineer. When it says a mechanical engineer, this is artificial intelligence engineer. No, it's you will have to be able to have all of these skills just for your coming and for your career. So something very interesting is, okay, this is how the artificial intelligence need is growing, okay? But not the question is I don't think that there are many people that they know they have these skills. Now the question is, we understand that the number of people with that they have artificial intelligence skills is low, but how low? How shallow is the artificial intelligence talent pool? So there is a company in Chinese, Tencent Holdings, did a study, and then they said, look, the number of people in the world that they know about artificial intelligence are 200,000. And then this company in Canada, Elemental IA, they say, are very sorry, there are not 200,000, they are 20,000, 22,000. To me, it doesn't matter if 200,000 or 22,000, because anyway, this is nothing. Do you know how many doctors, medical doctors, are there in the world? 25 million. So there is something very interesting, which is this very big gap between the needs for artificial intelligence and then the number of people that definitely they have these skills. It's a gap. And this gap has to be filled one way or the other. Now, because of this gap, so there is a question. If in the future everything is going to change with artificial intelligence, who will build the robots if nobody has these skills? Or not really, or apparently, it's apparent. So this is a study from the National Science Foundation, and then they said, look how interesting is this. They say, look, so the number of PhDs that are in subjects that there can be work in this artificial intelligence area is the average is just 1,500 per year in US. This is nothing. So how is going to happen that all of this promising future that artificial intelligence is going to bring us, how is going to happen if there are no people with the skills? They are not studying these skills, because these are PhDs in the university. And then one of the answers is this. I mean, which kind of degree do you think that is the most studied in US? Somebody could take, well, something related to artificial intelligence and computers. The answer is no. Look at these statistics. So computer and information sciences, interestingly enough, is the degree with the lowest number of people which are taking this subject. So now the question is, how is this possible? How is possible that there is not that there is a big need or requirement is needed in artificial intelligence? There are no people studying these topics, and then they basically the people they are studying something else. And then this gap, definitely this gap is in my opinion is filled by the nomads. Is filled by the nomads. look at these two projects. Who do you think that work that did these projects? One is they are the two systems, artificial intelligence. You just take images from your iPhone and you do something. Very interesting projects. Somebody could say, well, this is from a PhD in Stanford or wherever. No, the authors of these studies are kids of 15 years old, which are nomads. Because basically they have the passion, the innovation, they really want to do it. This is the people, one of these persons, by the way, I recommended to one of the companies where I am advisor in the technology board, and is working there, artificial intelligence, and has 15 years. Because this is the way that the people they don't even need to go to university. It's good, but they don't need it because it's the passion. They fulfill their passion, which is learning, innovating, and everything. This is the kind of the essence of the essence of the nomads. Look at Sarah. Sarah is a nomad. Sarah is a nomad, and then look what she did. Sarah read an article on blockchains, by the way, in New York, she exists. Sarah read an article on blockchain for automating compliance, but is doing courses in internet, people, gurus, blah, 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 blah. At the end, Sarah is hired as a lead developer of blockchain compliance solutions at Fidelity. And Sarah didn't go to university. Sarah is a nomad. So these people, this is the essence of the people, that they are leading the change and leading the VUCA environment, and is the essence of the people that now all companies they want to hire. It is very interesting that here in the US now, I mean, in some, even in some positions, federal positions, you don't need to show the formal training. You just need to show the skills. This is something in favor of the nomads. Well, now people, all of us, since the very beginning of the computers were invented, we were always very thirsty, very hungry of computing power. We had a computer and they say, well, I want a bigger computer. So then we started in the 70s with the network operating systems, but I want a bigger computer. Boom. Now we have distributed operating systems with these computers, but then we were not satisfied. We wanted more computing power. And then the network workstations and the clusters in the 90s, but it's not enough. I want a bigger computer. We started at the beginning of the 21st century with a brief computer, but we were not even sufficiently satisfied. And they say, no, I want a bigger computer. And this bigger computer that came is the cloud. So the cloud is going to be the biggest computer that we were going to ever have, because this is the maximum possibility of the computing power, which is completely ubiquitous, because it's super computing power which is surrounding us, and we'll be able to use it. It's something like nomads, artificial intelligence, and now this is the third element, the super ubiquitous computing that is coming. All of you are familiar with the Moore's law, and then this is something. This author Kurzweil said, look, I'm going to extrapolate the Moore's law to go even to the beginning of the 20th century. And I can see that, yes, it's true that always is a linear in the log scale, in the logarithmic scale, sorry. And then this guy said, but what does it mean that this is linear in logarithmic? And then he did this, he just put in linear. Because the logarithmic scale is very interesting just to show a trend, but not to talk to you about the reality of the computing. So if you have this Moore's law in these linear scales, this is the amount of computing power according to the law that always has been true that is going to happen. It's not only that the cloud is this ubiquitous supercomputing which is surrounding us, is that the amount of computing is really high. Okay. Now, think what you could do in your work if you are a nomad with this artificial intelligence and this amount of computing power. You can do just like new age, data analytics, artificial intelligence, anything that you want to do. These are the tools that you will have at your fingertips. And this is bringing to a concept. I don't know if you're familiar, but this is a familiar concept that is being very, is growing which is called the race to zero. Race to zero is this race that all of the cloud providers they are having just to offer you the access to the cloud at zero cost. You just can imagine infinite computing power at zero cost. You just imagine yourself as a nomad working with artificial intelligence in an environment where there is available to you infinite computing power at zero cost. To me, this is something very interesting. And this is something that we need to be ready to engage, and we'll be ready to work with it. This is very important. Well, look at this statement. Who could say this thing? This is something that is the key to disrupting $1 billion industry is ignorance, says the founder of SoftBank, latest multi-million-dollar investment target. Who could say that the key to disrupting a $1 billion study, who said is not the specialization, it's just the ignorance. Because this is the who said that? This was said by this guy, 𝗙𝗍𝗫 𝗙𝗍𝗫, he is Japanese. He's the richest man in Japan and the 40th man more rich and the more powerful in the world. This is the person that started to invest in all of this Yahoo and this kind of super unicorn companies. And this is something very important because what 𝗙𝗍𝗫's son is telling you is the philosophy at the essence of the nomad. You have to unlearn. You need to have enough humility in your brain to say that if I've been working 10 years specializing in this thing, maybe I need to start from scratch, which is a completely different thing, because this is because everything is ready to you to do it. This is the way you can handle your professional career in the digital transformation. Just accessing all of this knowledge and technology that is being democratized to us, just handling and then all of this change that is coming in this VUCA environment and being humble enough to recognize that maybe we need to start learning again completely different things. if you get stuck with your own knowledge you're not going to succeed. There is something very important. I mean, I have been working in this field for more than 20 years. And always when I'm presenting things that we are doing, people are saying, hey, Francisco, very good things that you are showing. It seems that all of you are thinking outside the box. And this is something from me to you today, just as a bonus, is that after many years looking at the box, I'm learning, I'm just looking inside, outside, doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, you have a reference, which is the box. So what I have really learned until all of these years is that there is no box. There is no box. You have to blow your box and change your reality. If you really want to be a nomad, just to be, I mean, just to handle and all of this, first of all, you need to blow your box, which is all of the references that you have in your brain, in your mind, about how to do the things, how is things working, how is working. This is the most important thing from me to you. Thank you very much. And now I think it's time for questions.
Absolutely. Maybe you can unshare your screen for now. So thank you very much. We'll all give you a digital round of applause. We're going to break the box or whatever. No box. So there you go. Yeah, there we go. There's the. But thank you. That was. I guess I have a bit of feedback on there. Not sure. Am I doing something in particular? Anyway, thank you. That was a fascinating presentation. I wrote all sorts of notes here. And if it's okay, I wanted to sort of make a few comments. I've had a career talk that I give, and there are many similarities to what you mentioned today. So I'm going to share my notes, and then meanwhile, everybody who's on YouTube and Facebook, please send your questions in. Those will be forwarded to me in the chat so that I can get those to Mr. Ortigosa. And in a moment, we'll actually let the 𝗙𝗏 students turn on their microphones and cameras and come on if they'd like. So I'm just going to share some of my notes. So first thing is, to me, what you've done is you have painted a very exciting future for those with the right outlook and mindset. That's sort of one of the key things I took out of that, and I thought that was great. And no age limit, right? So young Mr. Mike Forrest, he's got all sorts of things, and he'll come in a moment, I'm sure, that he can do. You mentioned the world of VUCA, right? So volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And that's exactly what we've been focusing on with 𝗙𝗏. That's one thing. In college, they learn the box, right? They come to the real world in 𝗙𝗏, and everything's ambiguous, uncertain, etc. So I think that's good. The other thing I wrote down is that, it turns out, I hadn't thought about it, but, in 𝗙𝗏, and maybe I'm a bit biased, but I believe we're actually teaching the timeless skills that the nomads can take with them. And so I wrote down what we emphasize in 𝗙𝗏, critical thinking, right? So thinking, it's the mind. One thing is, we emphasize value creation. I do believe going forward, entities will always want people who can create value. That's what we cover in 𝗙𝗏. The other thing is, what will always be needed is the human skills. So sales, communication, ability to raise money. You showed all the money that's being raised. So that's a tremendous skill. Constant learning, we emphasize that. Mr. Forrest is always saying that he learns from the students. Being entrepreneurial, definitely there's no more careers. You start with one company and go all the way. And passion, and I think, so anyway, I did want to use your slides as a chance to, as I said, I wrote this down. I think we cover many of these aspects in Evolve, certainly some of the human and the outlook factors. So that's my own perspective. I don't know if Mr. Forrest wants to jump in and make any comments along those lines himself. Otherwise, we'll open it up to the students to ask Mr. Ortigosa questions directly.
I can chip in. Alan here, do you hear me?
Absolutely, go ahead.
Well, that's, I think of the little pie diagram chart, curiosity and creativity is part of this. And interest, my problem is I'm interested in too many things. You get, you read an article and then I said, oh, let me follow that up. So I never have time to follow up all my interests. And but that keeps your mind going and keeps that creativity going and the curiosity going. Yeah, Francisco, good talk. Philosophical, but also educational for all of us.
And I will add, since you're on the line, I looked at the picture at the beginning where we were talking 45 to 64.
Yeah.
Maintain, decline 65 plus. Well, what I can say is that I believe Mr. Forrest has had 3 careers in his decline phase for the old model, right? And that's the wave of the future, I think, that you keep doing new things, you keep breaking new ground, you keep learning new things, and Mr. Forrest is a perfect example of that.
Yeah, there was a kind of a cutoff. There was a change, Francisco, from 24. I know it's age 24, and then people start slowing down. Well, I don't think that's quite true. I think the people who do well in life never slow down.
And you're the perfect example. So do any of the students want to have, you have the chance, since you're live with Mr. Ortigosa, the students, you actually have a chance to talk to him directly. You can, if you want, you may turn on your cameras, or if nothing else, unmute yourselves and ask a direct question. This is about your future. So I would think some of you might have a question or two. And I see some people are typing too, so I'll look at that in a moment, but I'll give the students a chance to go first if they have anything. Okay. So one question that's coming in on the chat, and again, the students, raise your hands if you want to talk. If we already have a master's degree in geoscience, can we still learn AI to be competitive in the industry, or would we be seen as being behind those that have the full-blown computer degrees? Was that a clear question for you, Mr. Ortigosa?
Okay. Is the adoption of the artificial intelligence is independent of the degree of your qualification. It's something, it's like speaking English. It's something that there are not just professionals of the English. You have all kind of professionals that they also speak languages. This is something very important, and there are, I know of several companies that they are doing the following. First thing is that they are creating, or they are developing, which is called the citizen data scientist. So for all of those which are not specialists in statistics or data science, it's not needed. What you really need is to have the people which just have any other skills, just develop the skills of data scientists, and these are called the citizen data scientists, citizen data scientists. So this is something that the companies are doing because of the upscaling and rescaling of the people. And this is something that in many corporations will be part of the development of the companies. But this is something that every one of us could do themselves just by learning on their own. The other thing, this is just related to data. The artificial intelligence, of course, apply to data. So if you are not a data, some sort of oriented person, you're not going to develop artificial intelligence skills. and be able to do, I mean, the language in which, the programming language in which the artificial intelligence is programming, most of it is Python. Python is not very difficult because it's a high-level language. And something very, very important is that, of course, you need to have your Python for programming, but you need to have your data skills just to be able to know the math and everything that you program. This is something that big companies are doing for their own people, but this is something that we could do. It's something for ourselves. It's something that's very important, and there is no restriction by age. You can be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and then you can do all of these skills on data science and artificial intelligence. And believe me, you are going to need it. It's not something like there will be some people which, I mean, the techie guys will do it. No. This is for you.
Okay, and yeah, I think, one point I'll add to that is, in my own experience, even just in the world of, we'll call it E&P, exploration, production, there's so many things that one needs to learn about. And again, one thing is, I don't think you necessarily have to get a degree in each one. You can still learn it, as I think Mr. Ortigosa said, on your own. So don't think, you need degrees in absolutely everything necessarily, so you end up with 10 degrees. That's kind of a thought from my side anyway. Any of the students want to ask anything? If not, I guess Ms. Sarah, do you want to, I see you're there. Do you want to ask your question in person, or you rather I read it for you? So, and I know sometimes her line is a little bit, the internet is a bit loose. So I'll tell you what, I'll kind of mention. So how do you prove you're a nomad, say in an email before an interview, to stand out from the other candidates? And so she says, I consider myself a nomad. I'm a petroleum geophysicist working in a renewable energy company where I've had to learn a lot of things from zero. I'm learning machine language, machine learning in Python. How do I make a recruiter notice me when they see my CV? Of course, that's a tough question. So do you have any thoughts on that or comments?
Yes. Looking for a job is a profession in itself, and people need to be a specialist on that. I don't know if I want to tell you now a particular success element, but something very important is, first of all, you need to be in the radar of the companies. Companies receive hundreds of CVs, and they have this software that basically the software, what it's doing is selecting 5. So you need to be sure that your software, your CV makes to the recruiter. That's why writing a CV is like a specialty. You really need to know how to write a CV that will pass the barrier of the tracker. That will take your CV to the recruiter. Second thing is that the content of the CV has to be it has especially ways of doing. The CVs, they are not biographies. You really need to relate your skills with your achievements. If A, then B. One skill, one achievement. You don't just say, I was born in 20, no, it's something very important about the content. The other thing is that you really need to be, especially in LinkedIn, completely the recruiters, they always are looking for people in LinkedIn. So it's very important that you know how to handle LinkedIn in terms of the not only the CV, but the other to get noticed, well, your contacts with everything. When you then that you have one that you have, I mean, you can be seen by the recruiters because your CVs are very well written, the format is the right one, you have all the exposition in the LinkedIn and so on. Then it's something that you have to prepare what you are going to say about you. You really need to make a sales pitch of 60 seconds where you have to put all your life completely on your career in 60 seconds. There are many schemes about how you write a pitch. Basically, all of these skills, they are called the 𝗙𝗿𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁 strategy that was taught in Stanford University. So this kind of how do you write a speech is very important. The other thing is that you really need to be trained in behavioral questions. So now when you get to the interview, the company is going to ask you things like, say, in this situation where this is happening, what do you do? And this is kind of questions that you need to work yourself, you need to work on yourself at home and make all of this. So this is just to tell you that looking for a job is a very complex specialty. I mean, it's not something that you write a CV and you wait until somebody is picking the CV, because it's not going to happen. This is absolutely. So this is just to say how to be noticed by a recruiter. This is just the things that you will be able, you need to do. And do those things takes a long time and takes a lot of skills.
And maybe I'll share some thoughts, based on my own experience. So yes, we definitely right now have what I call the CV robots. And if any of you want to team up with me to start a new venture, we figure out how to outsmart the CV robots, get in touch. We'll do that. But what I'm going to say is there's a missing element here, which is, and we talk about this in Evolve, it's about the human side. Mr. Ortigosa just said, applying for jobs is a full-time job. Well, a career is actually a full-time job. And so it's actually about who you know. And so I can tell you personally, when I see jobs that are interesting posted on LinkedIn, it's like, okay, very interesting. I'm not going to apply. I don't even bother. I say, now, let me think who I know in this company and let me find out the real story from the inside. And to be able to do that, you have to invest lots of time over many years on what I call the human side of things. You're active in the societies, you help people when they need help. And so that's what it takes to me, as well as all those other things. But you got to have this human side, and you have to have invested in the human side so that when you need something at a certain time, there's a network ready to help you. So those are some personal thoughts.
There is something, Alan, that is very important, as what you have said. And this is something that we always need to do. It's very important that you have a big list of contacts or followers or whatever, because something that you have to do for sure is that if you apply for a job and you send the CV to a company, immediately you need to see who do I know in the company, like Alan said, and let them know, look, I have applied for the job. Because it's not, because you will have more chances that the CV is going to go through the robot, because the person said, oh, I know this guy, and then this person has applied. Is different. Definitely, but the problem is that if you don't know anybody, you are toasted, because you really need to have a big network of contacts. It's very important. This is something that is being looked in LinkedIn. How many followers you have, how many contacts, What is your interaction with the rest of the people? This is something very important. There are people that after a life in working for a company, and then they need to look again for the content. They are saying, "Oh, why I never did LinkedIn?" Because you cannot write your story in LinkedIn in one day. You need years. So now I have seen many people complaining that why they did not spend time in LinkedIn.
Okay.
So just develop your LinkedIn skills.
And actually, I'll add one more point along the lines of the contacts. And you know, when I was at one of the company, a large company that was involved in selling, we'll call it rock property services, they had something they called LAMP people, large account manager program. And so you had individuals, and it was their job to know the structure of a company. So who reports to who, what are the responsibilities, who are the decision makers? So this CV may go here, but who ultimately makes the decisions? And so that was called LAMP, large account manager. So you guys actually have to be LAMP experts in all the companies, and certainly any company you really want to work for, you need to do that. You need to understand it. So if the commercial companies do it, you should be doing it also for your career. Let's see, I see we have a question from Mr. Navarez here. Do you want to ask that question yourself in person while you're here? Okay, maybe, okay, so the question was actually,
yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, so yeah, sorry, no, that was my audio. Yeah, for Mr. Ortigosa, yeah, I just wanted to ask, for recent graduates, what do you suggest they do to kind of better align with these times? And of course, with the COVID times, how to better align with the digital transformation age moving forward down to, let's say, year 2040, like you showed in your slides.
Well, these slides of the 24, this is what was the life of the people long time ago, and now, fortunately, it's not like that. I mean, your professional life will be expanding from your start in university until you are 90 years old or more. So this is no problem. What is really important is follow. I mean, this is something very interesting, no? Most of the audience are students which are just starting the work or finishing the university. There is something very important in the companies that regardless of the different downsizing of the companies, there is something very important is that all the oil companies, they have tremendous gaps in age. So that means that you cannot think like, oh, my chances of get hired are very low because the companies are getting rid of people. No, because there is a generational gap which is huge in oil and gas. It's huge. And this is something that the companies, they will be, and this is very, very good for the 𝗙𝗏𝗁 program, they will be investing in new generations because they have to ensure the future. So this is something very important. You have to say that you have very good chances of getting a job just because there is a generational gap. The other thing that I recommend you is that you have the right mix of competencies. Technical competencies and generic competencies. Technical competencies, which are the topics from your degree, plus mathematics, plus physics, everything that is related for a job, or geology. complemented with artificial intelligence and programming, and then the generic gaps, the generic competencies, which is all of these, all the characteristics of the nomad. So this is what I can recommend you, just to be able to work yourself on your brand.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody of us, we have a brand. We have a brand. Maybe we never thought of that, but the building of a brand is deliberate. It's not happening by chance. It's deliberate, and it has to include all of these technical and generic competencies, all your social network activity, all your everything. Is very important. The way others see you. What is the point that you are Nobel Prize if nobody knows it? You need to be able. You need you need to build your brand. You know, I want to tell you something. There was this person. He was a student, and then he got a job in a factory in summertime. And then this guy said, "How is possible? I need to be. I mean, I'm transparent to all of these bosses. I knew here and everything. So what should I do?" You know what this guy did? He was in a store, and he was just packing boxes. What he did is that in every box that he was packing, he was writing his name, David. And then when the manager came and saw so many boxes of David, he asked, "Who is this guy?" With, "Oh, it's me." So that you need to do it because it's not something like I mean, you need, it's not that you put 1,000 boxes and nobody knows. This is what is important. The other important thing that I can tell you is that you have to fulfill your passion. So you have to study and do things that you are passionate about. If you don't have passion, nobody will. I mean, the worst thing may happen to your brand is that you have no passion. Do you know what is the worst thing that may happen to a person? The worst thing that may happen to a person is to succeed in what this person doesn't like. Because you will be hostage of yourself from the rest of your life. And this is very sad. It's very sad that you are successful in something that you don't like. Mm-hmm. And the important thing is that I'm convinced that all of us were going to have success. So please, we need to concentrate in the things that we like and we are passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
And
thank you.
You know, as far as building the brand and all that, remember the societies are a tremendous way to do that. And I know many of the students here, you're active in your local student chapters, or you have been, and then you proceed to volunteer and do things. So whether it's AAPG or SPE or SEG, that is one way to get promotions too. In effect, you can be head of a committee, or you can play as part of other teams. So again, your involvement in societies gives you some additional roles even beyond your corporate role. So strongly recommended that you stay involved in societies going forward. Let's see, I think that's most of the questions that have come through the chat. Do the students want to ask any other questions at this point? Kind of last chance for additional questions for Mr. Ortigosa. So if not, I think we'll give you another round of applause here. So thank you so much for this presentation. And I'll close out as I usually do with just a few slides again here. So just let's see, screen number two. So we keep looking to add talks all the time. And if you know of some really good talks, as today's was, let us know. We'll work with you. So we're working right now. Dates will be finalized, but there's a talk about using fractals in EMP. There's a really excellent talk. I saw the slides on the petroleum geology of the Niger Delta by, I think, recently retired Shell geoscientist. And we're working on a, forgive my typo, I typed it too quickly, Python applications in EMP. By the way, that's not a training course where we're going to have you write equations and things, but it's more about the applications. So we're going to close out. So, we always say to those watching, if you enjoyed what you saw today and you are passionate about the next generation and want to help, come to this link. And of course, we're always looking for people to sponsor future Evolve teams. You can come here. And we always like when people donate to SEG Evolve, and you can donate as little as $10. So join in and help the next generation. And so in closing out, we came up with a theme. We are, or the students, I'm speaking on their behalf, they're the fearless explorers of the future. And so we close out here and we say, we're not afraid of the future. The Evolve students, we are the future. This is what Mr. Ortigosa said today. So you guys, you are the future. So thank you everyone for joining us today. And we will see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.